gentlemen, welcome to the Froe Show. My name is Frank Nathan. I'm joined, as always, by my beautiful co-host, Joe Murray.
Hello, Frank.
I think the exposure on that's too high.
I agree.
I'm going to go...
fix it.
Do you want to go fix it? I just sat down,
sure.
so I can't really be bothered. Hello, welcome to episode 75. I hope that you're having a banging day, had a banging week. And that... Oh, that's too low. Yeah, that's maybe one ticky up. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Beautiful. Fixing technical difficulties on the fly, on the show.
That's kind of the norm these
Killing
days.
it, as always.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah, that's you.
Yeah. This is a different setup to normal.
I'm stoked about the set, though.
Yeah.
And we have foam mats, so the echo's not as bad this week.
Yeah. And it blocks out that light.
Yeah.
Which is
How much
probably the
better is
biggest
it, though?
problem.
Like,
It is actually a lot better. There's more stuff in here too.
yeah, just generally.
Yeah.
I'm pretty stoked. I think we're doing well.
Yeah.
We're kind of killing it a little
Yeah,
bit.
just
Just
a
a little.
bit. And it
Just
takes
a little bit of murder.
takes half the amount of time to set up.
Yes,
is the
which
best
is
part.
much nicer. We can just walk down, plug in the mix, and just go. This is going to
Gonna.
suck in summer, though.
Yeah. We'll get big fan for then or something.
Yeah. Because that's going to be rough. It's warm in here now, and it's like...
It's August.
It's August. It's like 24 outside.
And summer's what? 30? Low 30s?
Should we do a pool episode in summer?
I'm up for that, yeah.
Yeah? Just with the boom mics?
Yeah.
Just play Marco Polo for an hour.
Yeah.
Marco! Polo!
What a boring episode. Yeah, just be water splashing.
Fish out of water!
And then the mic gets wet, and it'll be the entire time.
Yeah,
But it's fine, right?
that's fine.
Yeah.
It's only money. What's the problem?
Yeah,
Anyway, you said you wanted to start with something.
No? Did
Yes? Well, I said, do you want
I?
to
You
start?
threw me in the deep end.
I did.
Have we talked about Red Dead since last week?
No.
As in where I'm up to?
No.
Wait, last week. Did we talk about it last week?
A little bit, but not a lot.
Okay, well, I finished a chapter since last week, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I see what you mean now. You have to like grind out the first two chapters, and then the end of chapter 3, everything changes.
Yep.
And I just want to play it all the time now.
So have
And
you
finish it.
finished chapter 3 now?
Yeah.
You haven't started chapter 4?
No. Because when I finished chapter 3, I was like, I need to go to bed. I'm not okay.
I need sleep and to not think about this.
Yeah. But you good?
Yeah, I'm just struggling with the mic a little bit. Carry on.
But
I'll
the
figure it out.
story, oh my goodness. It's insane. And I can't wait for the ending. For anyone who... Yeah, we'll do spoilers now.
Yeah.
But... Because like at the end of chapter 3, I think the second last mission, Sean
Yeah.
gets shot in the head.
Gets glack. Blah.
And then it immediately goes into a fight. And your brain's like doing a massive 360. Like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, what's
Yep.
going on? And then once that's finally over, you go back to camp and one of the kids have been stolen.
Yep.
And so you go to the Braithwaite house because firstly the Greys killed Sean. And so then you go to the Braithwaite house. The kid's not there. He's been sent to Saint Denis. And naturally you burn it down, you know?
The assault on Braithwaite Manor, the whole scene leading up to that and then walking up to the house is probably one of the most cinematic experiences I've had, full stop.
Yeah?
Not just in video games, not just
Even movies as well?
even movies.
Wow.
That shot of all like 10 of them walking
Walking
up
up.
to the house, I'm just like, it gets me every time. I'm just
Yeah?
like, whoa.
What about like it burning down at the end?
That's also sick, but I feel like that has a little bit less of an impact.
Yeah. And that's also the moment that you kind of realize you're really not good people.
No, you bad.
Very bad.
You bad people.
Like the whole...
Bad people that do good things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not just good things. Like the whole lead up to this has been like, you know, we've been wronged,
Yeah.
but
then
we've
you
still
kind
done
of,
bad things, but we're just like trying to be good.
Yeah. But then now you end up in a town and you're pitting two families against each other and then you're killing both of them.
Yeah.
Like there's no winner in this
No,
situation.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't wait. I love the story, everything about it. I just want to keep playing it.
Do it
It's so
then.
good. I will.
Good.
But yeah, I didn't really have much else to say about that.
Yeah. It's good. I like
I
it.
can't wait though.
Chapter 4. Chapter 4 is probably my favorite. Chapter 5 is interesting for a lot of reasons that I won't go into, but I didn't like it that much. I blasted through chapter 5 really quickly so that I could get back to the next chapter.
Right.
That'll make sense to you when you get there.
Mm-hmm.
It won't make sense right now.
No, it doesn't.
But yeah, I blasted out chapter 5 in like a couple hours because I was like, I don't want to explore. I don't want to do anything. I just want to finish this section of the game and move on.
Yeah.
And then chapter 6 is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
There's just chapter 6 is a lot more linear. So chapter 3 and 4, if you want to get anything out of the game, you want to hunt, explore, do whatever, do it in 2, 3, and 4. Because chapter 6 is so breakneck and like insanely paced, and there's so much other stuff going on that like A, you won't want to do other stuff, and B, you won't be able to do other stuff. A lot of the stuff will get locked off, and things like that. So do it all now.
Yeah.
Is what I'll say. Because you're about to go to Saint Denis for the first time in the story, at least, because you've been to Saint Denis in online.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be fun. You'll enjoy it. You'll have fun.
Yeah, I'm very glad that I did explore in chapter 3 because there was one thing where you could like rob a homestead with Sean.
Yeah.
And I went to do that a few missions prior, but it was the fishing one instead. Like it's alternated between the two.
Yeah.
Anyway, I eventually waited till it was like had swapped back, and did that with Sean. And then the next mission, he died.
Oh.
So
You're a bit like, oh.
so I was so glad that I had.
Yeah, I didn't really have any connection with Sean because I kind of just blasted through those missions, and then I was like, oh, I guess that kid's dead.
Oh no, it hurt me.
It caused you physical pain.
I was like, oh.
I remember being like, what? But not having like an emotional attachment to him.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I was big sad.
I'm going to stop talking now because I was about to
when you were extra sad?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. We just got to Saint Denis.
Okay.
Like the moment I turned off the game, Dutch has ridden me into Saint Denis, and that's it.
Okay. That's exactly where I stopped as well after chapter 3.
Yeah?
I feel like that's just a good stopping point.
Yeah.
You're like, cool, all right, I'm satisfied. Bedtime.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nice.
So.
What are your thoughts so far on the music in Red Dead 2?
Oh, it's amazing.
Now that you've played quite a bit.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And probably my favorite part about the music, apart from all like the battle intense sort of music, is like when it triggers when you're riding somewhere and you're just like 30 seconds into going somewhere and the game knows that you're going far, and so it's like, I'm going to play this peaceful Western music right now. And you're like,
You're like, yeah, this is nice.
Yeah.
I like this.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think the music in Red Dead is definitely one of my favorite things. In both of them, Red Dead 1 and Red Dead 2. It's so well placed. Particularly in story missions as well. It's so well placed and thought out, and like everything has a purpose. It's not like they've just gone, oh, this part needs a song.
Yeah.
It's like they've actually put in the time and effort to be like, what song does this section need and why does it need it? Which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
It is. It is very, very cool.
Did you end up being able to listen to that Skyward Sword reversed theme thing?
I did.
Yeah?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah. Blows my mind that.
So I watched a video yesterday on the voice actors for Zelda. Which I thought was really interesting because because for people that don't know, in all the Zelda games, Link doesn't actually talk. He doesn't say any words, except for in the like old CDI games, which is basically just like an animated TV show. But that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But in all of them, he doesn't talk in the games. He communicates entirely through sounds and breaths and screams, basically.
Yeah.
Which is really cool, and it makes it really easy for people to place themselves in that character and be able to role play a lot easier. What I found really interesting is that Link as a character is a lot more complicated than a lot of others, because Link externally looks very similar in every game, but in almost every game, it's a different character. It's a different Link.
Yeah.
Because the whole lore of the game is that there's a prophecy that whenever evil comes again to try to take over the world, there will be a new Link and a new Zelda in that time period that will stop it. And it just repeats over and over again. It's a whole chosen hero thing. Super cliche, but works really well. But because they're all different people, they change voice actors every time.
Oh, right.
Which I didn't know, which I found was really interesting, because I would understand that if it was properly voiced.
Yeah.
But it's just words, grunts, and sounds. So I think it's really interesting that they change voice actors every time, because they had a woman doing it for the Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. So that was, and it's women for the most part. There's a couple male voice actors that do it. So women do all of the young Link voices, and men do all of the adult Link voices.
That makes sense.
Yeah, which is a trend in Japan, actually, that women will play young males. So young boys will usually be voiced by a woman. Which is really cool. I think that's really cool, because in a lot of US cartoons and things like that, it is just a child. Like it is an 8-year-old boy or whatever that's voicing the lines. But obviously they don't have as much acting experience as someone who is a professional voice actress.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they had a woman do it for Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and then they got someone else to do it for Wind Waker, and then all of the cartoon Zelda games after that. So the ones for DS, the Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks, blah blah blah, all of those ones. And all of their voices are also used in Smash Bros and things like that. So it's all their individual voices. So the lady who did the Ocarina of Time Link, they use all her voice clips for Ocarina of Time Link in Smash Brothers, and same thing with Cartoon Link.
Yeah.
And then for Twilight Princess, they got a new guy again to play Link, because this time it was like an adult Link, and it was a lot grittier. So they got another voice actor, and he did an interview a couple years after he did the job, because apparently he said that he found the job really difficult, because you're acting without words, essentially. It's just like you're reacting and acting through breath and through grunts and things like that. And so they basically just be in this sound booth for 8 hours, just doing the same scene over and over and just going, you know?
Right.
And then you'd get the director or whatever would be like, no, do that again, that wasn't right. Or that wasn't the right tone, or that wasn't the right feeling, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And a couple years after he did all the voice recordings for Zelda, for Twilight Princess, he got asked at a convention, because he's quite a well-known voice actor. He did Gundam and things like that. They asked him what's your favorite voice acting job you ever done? And he goes, oh, I couldn't possibly choose. I love all of them equally. Blah blah blah. And then his co-star was like, don't lie to them. And he goes, okay, I found it really difficult to be Link. I'd rather do characters that have voices in the future. And I was like, you know what? That's fair. I understand you. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting that they have different voice actors for every single Legend of Zelda game. So
that is interesting.
Yeah.
I suppose that's that whole continuity thing.
Yeah.
When making the character the same but different, so it's still interesting.
Yeah. And then when they hired someone to do, I can't remember which Link it was, but it may have been the first adult Link. So this is a male Japanese voice actor, and they basically told him when he got to the studio, they were like, look, we're going to market this game overseas. This is going to be sold in the US and in Europe and things like that. So when you're doing your lines, can you try to make them not Japanese?
Right.
He was like, these are just grunts. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to make that not Japanese. But what's really, really interesting is that in the context of the game, they all sound normal. They all sound totally fine. The second that you hear them separated from their context in the game, you go, oh, that's a Japanese voice actor.
Right.
And I thought that was so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like it's just the way that it comes out.
Mm.
Oh, it was so cool. It's like an accent for yells and for grunts.
Huh.
Yeah,
I'll have to pay attention to that.
yeah. I thought it was really cool.
That is very cool.
But yeah, that's my little skadoodle.
Yeah. How would they do it in not, a Japanese though? Like,
I think that's one of those things where you kind of just go, okay.
you just nod. It's
Yeah.
like, I'll do that.
Yeah, you got it, boss. You're paying me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you just like put on the accent and then just act.
I
I don't
think-
you just have to be the character.
I think
don't
that's
even know.
definitely one of those things where, like, yeah, it is definitely like one of those weird requests you get where you're like, yep, I'll do that.
I'll take that on board.
Yeah, it's like don't use wireless mics because the wireless waves will go into my brain.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
You see this wire that connects the microphone to your belt pack?
Yeah.
That's a wire. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, well, that was cool.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Very cool.
moving right along. Do you have anything else you wanna
well-
wiggle up on?
Yeah, while we're on games,
Yeah.
I played a game this week, and this isn't like super media related because it's not a video game, but it was a board game, right?
Nerd. All right.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to look like a real big nerd after this. Because it was one of those really long board games, right? And going into playing it, I never thought something like that could keep my attention for so long. And so
I
this...
love board games, man.
Oh, so do I.
Yeah.
Most of the time. I love playing board games in big groups.
Oh,
I-
no, I love like one-on-one board games where you're like eyeing off the other person.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't really enjoy that. But anyway, so this game is like the recommended, time that it would take to play the whole campaign is like 15 to 25 hours.
Whoa. Whoa. I was expecting you to be like, 2 hours, 4 hours.
No. And like even someone came in when we were playing it. There was 4 of us. It's a minimum of 4 people. And they thought, oh, is this, like Monopoly sort of thing? As you said,
Yeah.
a little longer. Even though Monopoly should only take half an hour if you play it properly. But
Monopoly was designed to be a display of how a capitalist society will always fail.
yeah.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
But then they
That's
turned it
'cause-
into a board game and sold it. So that shows exactly what capitalism does. Anyway, moving right along.
Yeah, they came in and was like, oh, is this like Monopoly? And we're like, no.
No.
Like, this round ends in it took us like an hour and a half for that round to end. And like, there's many of them, many rounds. But the story is insane. So like, you're the king's council of this kingdom, right? And there's, it's called the King's Dilemma. And
Yeah.
there's dilemmas that come up and you have to vote whether to like say yes or no to it. And it's really interesting how like broad this story can get just from yes or no answers. Because we've like, in your kingdom, we've had a war and won a war.
Do you want to go to war?
We've got another.
Yes.
No, it was like this person who got exiled from this kingdom, the Ankal kingdom, wants your army to help overthrow, the current leaders of that kingdom. And so I think we said, yeah, we'll do it. And so then we went to war with them.
You're like, yeah.
And then there was like a few other dilemmas that came up that we eventually then won that war. And now there's like So once you've done a certain thing, there are envelopes, and there's like 100 envelopes or something. And if it leads, into more of a story, you could get a new envelope, and that gets shuffled into your dilemmas. And so, yeah, you keep going along anyway. And it's just really amazing how like a board game can have such a broad story, because we've also got a civil war happening in our kingdom, and that was from. Oh, and our second war started from accepting cheap wheat because our people didn't have much food.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, like.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And there's religious stuff happening too. Like there's this weird religious leader who's now like, who's having an affair with the king, and so and so the king's
Naturally.
like, I don't really care for this anymore. Like, I don't really want to rule. I'm just going to let you guys do the thing. Just give me what I want. And so then as a council, you have to decide, do we stick with our king or do we like go against him? But then if we go against him, we'll have no power. And so there's all these like crazy little decisions you have to make. And it takes like 20 minutes to make a decision sometimes.
Wow. That sounds really cool, actually.
It's very cool. It's pretty wild. But
so you're doing games nights now?
Yeah. Games like days, because it takes hours. But yeah, I just never thought like someone could come up with that and then keep your attention for that long.
Well, I guess at that point it's just like, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but there's a game series called Mountain Blade.
Oh yeah.
And it's essentially the video game version of that. Like, you're just given there's no real story.
Yeah.
You're literally just, you build a character, you give it a backstory. So like you build your character, and then it'll give you like 10 options. It'll be like, your father was a smith and your mother was dead. You grew up on the streets, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Anyway, depending on what you choose, it kind of just plonks you down somewhere.
Right.
And there's nothing to go off. You're just a person in the Middle Ages, and you can just do whatever.
Oh, right.
And so, like, I used to play this a lot when I was in high school, and you just, like, there were tons of things you could do, but basically, like, what I would do is you would go out, you'd recruit a bunch of people to be in your, like, mercenary group, and then I would go out and I would make friends with a king or a kingdom, and then I would, like, assimilate their army,
right.
and then once I like got enough of them, I would just start overthrowing other places and just like Alexander the Great, like conquer everything.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's really cool. And then you've got like a bunch of other stuff, like you can, marry a king's daughter to be like an heir to the throne, and then have the king assassinated and blah blah blah. Like, it gets really really deep.
Right.
And then so they actually just recently released the sequel to that, which is much better. And it has like full on like army style combat. Like, when you go to war with someone, you actually go to war with them with the exact number of people that they have in their army. So it's like, if your army has like 600 people and their army has like 600 people, you're going to jump into this battle that's 600 versus 600.
Right.
And you can like fully command your army, be like, use this formation and go that way and do this.
Wow.
Or you can just let it auto run and let the game decide for you. Like, it's really cool. So you can treat it like a board game, or you can treat it like a proper chivalry type sword play game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's super cool. I'll have to show you later.
Yeah, you should.
But yeah, I spent so much time in that game.
Yeah.
Because you just like, it's the exact same. Like, you get thrown in these situations and you just kind of make your story as you go. You're like, I'm going to go have sex with the king.
Okay. But, and like, this game is really, the King's Dilemma is really interesting because you get, at the beginning of the game, you get given a house. And so you kind of randomly choose what house you're from. And so then you have to like, from what I understand, because no one really knows how the game ends or when it's going to end or like what happens or how you win, sort of thing. Yeah. So
are there then a lot of ways to win?
Must be. From what I understand, I think it's like, if you play to your house or if you like fit really well in your house, then like you'll do well in the game.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
can one person win of the 4?
don't know.
Okay.
That's the thing. We'd have no idea.
Interesting.
But the crazy thing is, you can only play this game once.
Oh.
Yeah. So you're like writing on cards and all this sort of stuff. And it was like $100 because there's so much stuff that goes on.
Really? That's so interesting.
You can only play it once because it won't work again. Because you'll know what's going to happen. Like there's things out of envelopes. Like
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign that's been set for you. You don't need a DM that's going to deal with everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's super cool.
It is. It's very, very cool.
I'm going to buy it.
You reckon?
You've sold me, yeah. I'm going to get Ed to play it with me.
It's a minimum of 4 players.
Yeah, and I'll find 2 other massive nerds to play
Yeah,
with
do
me.
it. I would highly recommend.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Okay, I'm actually going to do it.
Because it's so story based, and we thought like there's no way you could have a board game that's so story sort of thing. But yeah, every decision that you make, impacts stuff later in the game.
Right. Yeah, I'm sold. I'm getting this. I'm getting this game.
I'll show you a photo of the table that we've.
Okay.
Just so you can see how elaborate it is.
I kind of have a mental image of. Are you leaving the table out, like when you're not playing?
No, we did because we were going to play 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
But now we're not playing till next week, so
Okay.
you can kind of pack it up as long as you finish like the round.
Yeah.
And what I mean by a round is like the king either abdicates or dies.
Right.
And it's kind of like then the next round is like the next generation
Right.
of people in your house.
Right.
And your house has like a 2-paragraph backstory. And you have to
Sounds like a lot of reading.
fit into that. It is a lot of reading. But it's really good. There's a lot of big words in it too. Yes. That's the table.
Oh, whoa. Whoa, okay.
So there's the board in the middle that does some stuff. And then like...
I love the snacks.
Oh yeah, you got to have the snacks.
Gotta have the snacks.
So each one of those, see that red card there?
Yeah.
That's my like house.
That's your house.
And that'll sit up and acts as a bit of a shield. And you have nay, pass, or I. So when you come to a dilemma, you vote on which one. But then there's also, so you also have a certain amount of power each round.
Yeah.
And so depending on how much power you have will depend on how hard you can vote.
Pass or no or
Exactly, yeah.
Huh. That's super cool.
It is very, very cool.
I
would recommend.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to play it.
I would recommend everyone looking into it too because it's expensive, but
Yeah. But I mean, if you're playing it with 4 people, you just split it between all of you and it's like $20 a pop.
yeah.
So it's not that bad.
Exactly. And the way that we thought about it is like you'd spend $100 on a video game, which is about the same
Same length, yeah.
a
Same
20-hour
length.
campaign.
Yeah. True. Yeah, it's probably better for your eyeballs, so.
Yeah.
And your brain.
And reading, there's lots of like really big words in there. I often come to it and I'm like, I don't know what this word is.
Help.
Which is great because everyone at the table is so much smarter than me.
I think I have a good idea who you're playing with.
Yeah. And we've come to the realization, or they've all come to the realization that I'm not great at English. And like I can't read super well and all this sort of stuff.
So they're like, we'll read it for you.
No, not really. It's just like I'll try and say a word and then they'll correct me and I'm like, I'm okay with that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's great.
Yeah. Sick. Anyway, moving right along.
Yeah,
Good recommendation. Love it.
We-
I was going to talk about... I've been watching... Oh, were you going to bring that up?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
no. I'm going to talk about this.
Yeah.
I've been watching... Well, I have watched a new show. I've actually finished a new show.
Oh.
So I started watching and finished Donald Glover's show Atlanta, and it has blown my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know if I've seen this.
probably not.
Can you give us a
So
little backstory?
it's okay. It's kind of hard because there is an overarching story, but the overarching story is more about the development of the characters. So it's more like, say, the overarching story is like one character learning to accept his relationship with his partner. Like, I'm making that up, but that's the storyline, rather than he has to go and win her back.
Yeah.
Like it's a much more like abstract kind of general storyline, but the basic premise of the show is that there's a guy. His name's Ern, and he's sort of the main character of the show, but there's also a lot of episodes where it totally focuses on another character, and he's just not in it. But it focuses on Ern, particularly in the first season, and Ern's cousin Al is a rapper, and his name's Paperboy. Paperboy releases a song at the start of the show that makes him go big. And so he becomes a famous rapper essentially overnight. And right before that happens, Ern becomes his manager. So it's kind of the general premise of the show is Ern figuring out how to manage Paperboy while also being incredibly poor, having no connections, living in Atlanta. He has a daughter with this woman who's kind of his partner, but not really.
Right.
Like they sort of live together, but he's essentially homeless. But they're not dating. Like they're still seeing other people, but like they have a kid. Like it's this whole really complex relationship, and it's really interesting. So that's the general premise of the show. But what makes the show so good is it's incredibly realistic. So within the show, it's like the way I saw it described was Atlanta, the city, is a character in the show, essentially.
Right. Okay.
So Atlanta as a whole is represented so well in the show that it's real. It's totally realistic. Like rather than, for example, Paperboy and his friend Darius go for wings. They go for chicken wings somewhere. Rather than in like a regular show, they would just go to some generic place that's like, you know, they have chicken wings, and then they have dialogue within that chicken wing shop that furthers the plot. What happens is they go to a specific place that actually exists in Atlanta, order the menu item from that place that is synonymous with Atlanta, which is, I think it was lemon pepper wet chicken.
Right.
And the conversation that they have in this restaurant doesn't further the plot at all. It just is a conversation that they have within the restaurant.
Right.
And the only way that it furthers the plot is in the relationship that Paperboy has as a rapper, because the server, the waiter, recognizes him and gives him free stuff in the restaurant. And that's the only thing that whole scene does. Is it makes him grow as a person, but it doesn't extend the plot at all. So that's kind of the realism side of the show. Complete flip side of that is the show is also incredibly surreal. So there's a bunch of just weird stuff happening all the time. And it is so cool.
Yeah.
Because you get scenes where, like, one of the really popular examples is there's an episode in the show where Paperboy gets his first club gig. So basically you get paid to go to a club and sit there and just be in the club as a famous rapper.
Yeah.
Whole episode is totally normal, kind of at the start of the joke, because the show is technically comedy. I would call it comedy drama, but it's its whole own genre, like the show as a whole. But there's kind of a throwaway joke at the start of the show where there's another guy in the club who is way more famous than them, and that kind of drives the plot for this episode. But Darius, Paperboy's friend, says, have you seen this guy? He has like an invisible car. And it's crazy. And Paperboy's like, that's stupid. Of course he doesn't have an invisible car. And he shows him photos on Instagram, and it's like him, like, on the curb, like pretending to lean on the car, basically.
Yeah.
And you kind of just go, haha, that's stupid. This guy's obviously just like faking it for clout.
Yeah.
Right at the end of the episode, everything goes wrong in the club, blah, blah, blah. They're all like running out of the club. As they're running out of the club, in the background, you see like a group of people get bowled over by an invisible car, and they just like go flying over the hood of nothing. And you're just like, oh, right.
I see.
Yeah. But season 1 is a lot more realistic. Season 1 was definitely like Donald Glover kind of being like, let's get this show like on the air, people watching it. Like, let's put in some weird kind of surreal things, but let's not go too crazy.
Yeah.
And then season 2, he's like, we're set. let's just go.
We got season 2.
Yeah. Like season 2 is really interesting because there's a couple really surreal episodes. Season 2 has one of my favorite episodes of television ever. So the way that I described the show to my dad the other day was the show is essentially a series of short films that further the emotional growth of each character, but you don't need context for each specific episode. So I could show you a random episode from season 2, and the episode self-contained would make just as much sense to you.
Right.
Because you would just take the characters at face value of where they're at in that particular moment.
Yeah.
Which makes it super interesting. And I think makes it really accessible for people. But then the show as a whole, as it progresses and the characters grow, you really see them change, which is super cool. I think it's awesome. And it's easily, like, probably one of my top shows I've ever watched.
Interesting.
If not the top show I've ever watched.
Wow.
Yeah. It's that's good.
That must be pretty
It
good.
is that good. And I love Donald Glover so much. He's such a talented man.
Yeah.
And
But how?
yeah. No, you seriously, you have to watch it. It is a must watch.
Okay.
The first episode is kind of weird, but really slow. And then 2 and 3 pick up.
Okay.
But it's worth it to just like trust it and trust that Donald Glover knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he directs a couple of the episodes himself as well.
Oh.
Because like I said, like he's technically, I say technically because there kind of isn't really a main character. It's kind of just the show as a whole is just like a window into these people's lives. So like, yeah. Anyway, so you get a lot of episodes where it's based around another character that's not Ern. And something really interesting is in season 2. So right at the end of season 1, the guy who plays Paperboy's mum died. Obviously, quite upsetting to have your mum die. And then in season 2, there's an episode that is just him for the whole episode, essentially. Oh. And the episode is about his mum. And it's so well done. And the whole episode just kind of like visualizes like all those feelings of grief and working through them and like, you know, what it's like to grieve not only as an individual but also what it's like to grieve as a celebrity and what it's like to grieve as someone who is constantly in the public eye and having to be seen by people. And the way they do that is essentially the general plot of the episode is he gets into an argument with his girlfriend and he goes to like walk home because she drove. He walks home, gets mugged, and then he like gets chased by them into like the forest. Yeah. And the forest is like the metaphor for grief, essentially. Yeah. And so a bunch of weird, surreal stuff happens in the forest. Like he gets followed by this like creepy old dude who's like giving him pep talks, but also kind of wants to kill him. And anyway, they go through this whole thing. He manages to escape the forest and goes to a gas station to like get just a drink. Yeah. And as he's in the gas station, like covered in cuts and bruises, like face just torn to shreds, all his clothes are covered in blood. And there's this dude that's just like, "You're Paperboy, right? Can we take a photo?" Like, and you can see it like click in his head. Yeah. That it's like, I have to do this. Like, I can't say no to this kid. Like, I'm famous. This is my job. Like, yeah, I just have to. And he like tells him how to take the photo. Like, you know, and just goes through the motions. I thought it was so well done. Yeah, wow. So well done. That's not my favorite episode of the show. My favorite episode of the show I won't talk about because it's best watched with no context. Okay. Because it's just weird. It's so weird. But yeah, no, seriously, definitely watch it. Also, has one of the best soundtracks of any show ever. Yeah. It is so well done. Donald Glover knows exactly what he's doing. He's doing it real well. And one thing I learned, this is the last thing I'll say on it. Yeah. One thing I learned that they did when they were filming was they kind of do it like a play. So they just set up a bunch of cameras and they just let them go. And a lot of the people in the show are method actors or they're improvising and they're just like making these real relationships with people. And so there's like, I watched an interview with the guy that plays Paperboy and he was saying like, yeah, there's so much stuff that like shows up in an episode that I didn't realize I was being filmed.
Yeah.
Like there's a whole part of the show where his barber, he goes to his barber to get his hair cut and his barber like drags him around town for ages, like doing errands. And so he's got like half of his hair cut and the other half not. So he looks janky as.
Yeah.
Anyway, the barber like pulls into a car park and has an argument with his son. As he's doing that, Paperboy's just sitting in the car and he has this moment where he like pulls down the visor and like looks in the mirror and goes, oh. And he was like, I didn't know that was on camera, but it showed up in the episode. And I was really surprised. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Really interesting way of doing a show. And I'm very glad that I watched it now. Because so there's 2 seasons. Season 2 came out in 2018.
Yeah.
And they've just started shooting season 3.
Wow.
So I feel very lucky that I've skipped that like 3-year wait. Not only have to wait like 9 to 18 months.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful for that. I feel like
Yeah.
I've skipped the line a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, really good. Definitely watch it.
Okay.
Plus.
I will have to watch it.
Plus.
Is it on anything?
It's on Binge. I don't know if you
Okay.
have Binge.
Nah.
I think you have my Binge login.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe. I'll give it to you.
Alright. Yeah, I'm keen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sounds very interesting. Yeah.
That's all I got on Atlanta.
Oh, all right.
Have you got anything else?
No, not really.
No. Boring.
Hey. No.
I was going to talk about the wireless Go-Tos, but I remembered I talked about them a little bit last week.
Yeah, I realized that too.
But update.
Good.
Yeah.
Still good.
Yeah. They're doing well.
You use them in here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They sound great. It's pretty good. I had to get a TRS to TRS.
Is it in here?
Yes. Yes. Maybe. No promises. Yeah, in the little lav thingy. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I had to get. I think it's a TRS to TRS. Because I didn't realize that the lab that I have is a specifically for mobile phones one.
Yeah.
So that was fun. I plugged it into the wireless Go and it didn't give me any levels.
Yeah, it won't work.
So I was like, cool, that's fun.
Oh, I'm surprised it goes in the whole way, actually.
Yeah, well, that was my thing as well. I was like, oh, it fits. That's
it's
fun.
the same size.
Oh,
That's weird that didn't give you anything, actually.
you'd think, right? But it just doesn't give you literally no levels. I'd expected to give me like little distorted levels, like.
No, well, yeah, I suppose it's using the wrong rings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that last one is probably the one that this lav picks stuff up on.
Yeah, right.
And so this one doesn't even have a reader for it.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah, cheeky $15 adapter.
Just get a better lav.
But I could either have gotten a $15 adapter or a $90 lav.
Better lav.
This is not a bad lav.
I mean, it's fine, I guess.
Shut up. Why are you so mean to me?
No, it sounds fine.
Yeah, that's all right.
As long as you know how to fix it in post, it's fine.
Yeah, I just don't touch it.
Actually?
Maybe. It's fine.
We'll discuss that later.
I know what you're talking about. It sounds great. But just don't touch it. Rode does all the work. Is this an effective lav placement?
It probably would sound fine.
Just like you get the gobble. Yeah, those are the little
Too fluffy.
the little windshields. You didn't put it on right though.
Yeah.
There we go. Now it's on. Anyway, I've got nothing else to talk about other than the wireless Goes. They're great. Check them out if you want them.
Good.
If you've got the wireless Go ones, these are worth the upgrade if you want to do 2 transmitters to one, because with the wireless go ones, if you wanted to get 2 people, you would need 2 sets. Now you can just do 1 set and have them both record to the left and right channel. And it's great, super easy. Anyway,
have you tested the range of them yet?
yeah, they go far.
Oh, really?
Pretty much, it's just line of sight.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Rooms are a bit harder. I think one room across, you still get a really good signal. 2 to 3, it gets a bit spotty. Anything more than that, it gets a bit crap.
Yeah.
But line of sight is great.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Makes sense.
You have anything else you want to finish on?
Nah, I don't think so.
Nah.
I have something, but it doesn't really fit with this week.
Okay.
But let's save it for next week.
All right, cool. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening to or watching this episode of The Froe Show. If you want to give us money, head over to patreon.com/The Froe Show. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah? I have to reach over. I'm really sweaty.
It's
Bye.
hot in here. Bye.
Bye. It's all vibes. Oh, I have to fade. Oh, no.
Fade.
Bye.